So it's now the next day, and still waiting on some more parts to arrive, but in the meantime, there are some things we can get done. So I'm going to go ahead and try and remove the death cap. That'll be the first thing, and really just see if it's even possible to transplant that from here over to here where the cap would have been. And then, as mentioned in the beginning, I picked up a 0.1 microfarad blue molded cap to replace the big one here. So basically, we should have the vibrato channel tone caps all as they would have been, which would be great. Obviously, these are really well regarded and definitely what you look for in a vintage Fender like this. They very rarely go bad, so I'm not sure why they were replaced in the first place, but they were. So we'll have it all back to how it should be hopefully soon. The other side is actually grounded to the chassis, so I have the giant soldering iron for that to hopefully take care of that ground connection very quickly. So first, let's go ahead and disconnect this leg. It's a bit of an awkward place. There we go. Now let's go ahead and flip it over and try and get that other side. I'm going to actually lift the cap up a little bit. Since the chassis is going to be so hot when I'm undoing the connection on the other side, I just don't want it to be resting on the chassis. So let's flip it over. So there it is right there. This is the other leg of the cap connected to the chassis. So we're going to go ahead and try and remove that. I actually just put a new tip on this soldering iron, so I'm curious to see how this holds up. So this is the maiden voyage, if you will. There we go. It's hard to get under it, but there we go. All right, I will admit that was not my best job in the world, but I've never used that one before, so got a little rowdy, but that's okay. We got it done. So now we'll go ahead and feed that through. I'm going to clean this solder up as well, and let's see what I can use. I don't know if I can use braid on that sort of thing or not. It's not too hot, so that's not an issue. Let me go ahead and pull that cap out first. All right, there it is. So here's our 0.047, and then here's our 0.1. So that should be perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to try the braid first. I've never done it with something like this before. I'll probably get it super hot, but we'll try it. It's actually working really well. All right. So we got basically all the solder off. Awesome. So I'll just go ahead and clean that up a little bit, and we should be good to go there. Killer, that new tip works way better on that. The one that comes with the iron, it is a Hakko 150 watt, model number 551. The tip it comes with is almost like the tip of a spear, and so to be able to get it in there, you have to go at such a crazy angle. It's really hard to work inside of a chassis. This is fine, but inside of a chassis is really hard. So this is a tip from, I think it might be Weller. I can't remember exactly, but I actually had to grind it down a little bit to fit inside of this soldering iron, but it works perfect now. So great. Pretty happy with that. So we'll go ahead and clean this up a little bit and then flip it over. All right, there you go. Looks all shiny because that was done obviously at the factory. So, but great, that looks awesome. Now let's go ahead and flip the amp back over. So next up, I think what we'll do is disconnect the 2-prong cable here. And I don't think I'm going to solder in the 3-prong just yet because it's just easier to work on without having to worry about the cable. So we'll go ahead and just disconnect it for now and then obviously install it when we're a bit closer to being done. Perfect. There we go. Old janky 2-prong gone. I'm going to make sure I grab this little guy. All right, to the trash. So here we have the blue molded caps. So this 0.047 was the one original to the amp that we just took off of here, which was the death cap. And you'll notice it's actually bigger than the 0.047 that is in the tone circuit here, or what would have been originally. That's because this is a 400 volt 0.047 microfarad, whereas this is a 600 volt. So it is actually more capable, I guess you could look at it, but it's not exactly the same. However, I think it's fine. It's going to look like a blue molded cap in here, which honestly is 99% of it just looks. I don't know how much this changes the sound. Some people have told me a lot. Some people have told me they don't at all. In this spot in the circuit, as I understand it, this is where they would make the most difference. So we'll give it a shot, and I might even play around with maybe swapping in if I'm using the vibrato channel more, moving these over here because this is the normal channel. I'm not sure yet. We'll play with it. But to start, I just want to go ahead and install these in. So it'll go the 0.1 will be there, and then the 0.47 will be here. And we'll start there. And then I think I'm also going to remove these 2 caps and see if it's even possible to fit this big sucker in here like that. And yeah, so that's the plan. So we'll go ahead and start by removing these. So I'm going to go ahead and add some fresh solder to these actually. I think that'll make it easier. The fun thing with soldering always is that you always need an extra hand. So I think this will help things to flow better. All right, so there we are, these little caps. I don't know how to read what they say, but there they are. So we'll set those aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean out these areas with the solder sucker. So to mock it up, this one will go here. And this one will go here. Not a whole lot of space, if I'm being honest. I might actually put the 0.47, move it from here to here, move this one here where there's more space. So I would put that one there. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Just not sure there's enough room. The angle would have to be pretty extreme on this 0.47 to get over to this eyelet. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and move this one here and move this here. Perfect. So let's clean this one up and then I think that'll be great. We'll just move it there like that. Just going to put this off to the side. We'll do that later. I'm going to go ahead and remove these now. I think I'd like to just remove everything from this eyelet because it was done so poorly by the previous tech. Disconnect everything because it was so awful. All right, there are those caps. Ducati 25 microfarad by 30 volt. I'm not sure if they're good or not. Doesn't matter. I don't like how they were installed. It looks pretty poor. So those will go in the trash. I'm going to check these resistors and see what they measure while they're out of circuit, just to confirm. 4.5K. Let me pull up my schematic. So these are actually supposed to be, I don't know if you'll be able to see that at all, but these are supposed to be, looks like 1.5K, or 1500 ohm resistors, and that reads 4.5. So those definitely need to be replaced. And this one reads 1.6. So that's right, but they're both the same band, although they were put in backwards. So I wonder if this one, something in circuit with it is messing it up. So I'm gonna remove the other leg just to see, because I don't know these things. I gotta test to see for myself. So let's lift up the leg on this side. Still reading super high. So 4.7K for this one. So that is also going in the trash bin. And then this one will also be replaced, even though it's not far out of spec. It's like, what, 1.6? Yep, 1.6K. But right here, supposed to be 1500K, 1500K on either side of the 25 by 25 caps. So that's going to replace as well. So I'll go ahead and take it out so it's not in the way. Straight to the trash bin. I'm going to go ahead and clean up this joint right here and this joint because they look quite bad. And we'll redo them when we have the new parts. A lot of excess flux here. I can clean this section with isopropyl while I have it apart. I'm still waiting on resistors to come in, but I will have 1500K resistors to swap in here. All right, actually did a pretty good job. Looks much better. So I'll probably do the rest as I go down, as I'm taking out resistors and checking them. So I'm gonna go ahead, I don't have the resistors, but let's go ahead and just mock up what this might look like. It is an incredibly tight fit, holy cow. You know, I was told these would work, but I mean, I'm not so sure. It's not the height is close to the wire, like whatever, that's fine, but it's more that that's about as good as that would get. These would be basically touching on top of each other. Dang it. Gosh, there's like 10 bucks each. That's like $30 down the drain. That's frustrating. All right, I think back to the drawing board on that. I'm not really sure what to do because this would have to be basically lead straight down on this. Is it doable? Sure. But to fit resistors on either side of this and these two caps here, it might be more no, this is just as tight. Yeah, I don't think it's possible. They're too big. That really sucks. Okay. Well, I guess live and learn, $30 down the drain. If anybody knows about better replacements that are 2-in-1 specifically versus having I'll tell you guys what I don't like. I do not like the look of these tiny little caps here when everything else is so much larger. I understand technology's gotten better, but I mean, this is a very high quality capacitor, F&T, considered by many to be basically one of the best you can get that is of this type. Again, this is equivalent to 2 of these. How does that make sense? It literally makes no sense to me why this is so big. I'm not aware of any other caps that are dual, that are smaller than this, but bigger than this. So if you guys know of any, tell me where to buy them. If they're quality, obviously. Excuse me. So otherwise, like what I don't love, I just really don't like the look of these mod caps. The silver just sticks out like a sore thumb to me. I like the subtle. So I purchased this Sprague to replace this cap right here. And it's black, so it'll just kind of blend in and not really stand out. But the silvers are just same size, but I don't know. When I see these in an amp, it makes the amp look cheap to me. They are actually pretty cheap caps. At least these are. I mean, these were, I think this was like less than $5 for 5 of them. Something, no, it couldn't have been that cheap, but regardless, very cheap. This is a lot more money, the Sprague. And I literally purely bought this because it's black to replace this spot. These, like I said, are 10 bucks a pop. And yeah, just too big, unfortunately. So, yep. Let's go ahead. What else can I do? Let's replace for today, as I'm waiting for more shipments to come in. Let's go ahead and replace the bias capacitor there with the new F&T, and then I think we'll probably call that a day. And then tomorrow I've got some parts that are supposed to arrive, so we'll be able to do a lot more. So let's get all my stuff out of the way, and then I'll try and set this up so the camera can see that a bit better. So we're gonna go ahead and replace this. Somebody told me that this diode and resistor look original. Perhaps, I have no idea. I checked the resistor and it measured okay, so I think we're just gonna leave that, but just for peace of mind. And again, I just don't love these new looking caps. They stand out way too much to me. So the F&T I think look really good and they're very subtle. So let's swap this out and put in the F&T. For this, you just gotta make sure that you have the positive and negative side oriented the correct way, because this is for the negative bias. So you definitely don't want to have it flipped the other way. So we'll just make sure. Remember, positive is facing the lamp here. All right, that's gone. This is a Sycon 47 microfarad, 160 volt. We're going to replace it with 100 microfarad, 100 volt. I'm not super happy with that. I might redo that and take it out and really clean out the slot and put a new one in. It's just so hard to reach it and with the camera on, because I have to do it from this angle. Obviously I would do the reverse so that I'm not having to like bend over at a weird angle to reach it. But I think for right now I'll leave it, and I'll probably redo that off camera. But that's swapped, so we'll consider that good for now. And I think that's about it for today. I guess I can swap this cap real quick because that will be one of the ones swapped. So let's go ahead and do that. I really want it to be basically black and you just see Sprague. So we'll go right there. But you can see what I mean, just how small it is. Just does not really fit everything else, but it is what it is. So let's remove this. Let's lift this leg and measure this cap real quick, or this resistor real quick. Should be 100K right here, and it measures 101, so that's perfect. So that can stay. Not really sure how long these are supposed to be going into these eyelets. Again, this is the first amp I've ever worked on that had them, so no experience. Actually deeper than I was expecting, these eyelets, so the lead can go in pretty far, so I'm not really worried about that. I really don't understand why I can't fit that in there. I'm going to lift the leads on this resistor. I think this is 100K that I was going to replace anyways, so for some reason it doesn't want to go in any further, so let's go ahead and measure this 100K. I think it was 100K, either 100K or 100 ohm. I don't remember. 100 ohm. So 107. It's fine, but from what I've seen from other people, this is a resistor that needs to be set up with a little bit of slack in the leads so that as the board flexes, you won't be able to see, or maybe you can from this angle, but the board has kind of done this. It's got this giant ramp right here, ramp down, big ramp up. So these move over time. And so I guess if you don't do this right, then this can pull out and that can cause some problems. So I'm going to remove this and replace it with a new resistor when they come in and do that properly. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me get some braided wire in there and just try and clean that up even more. All right, I am much happier with this now. So I've got this with a good mechanical connection in right now. It's not soldered in. I will do that once we get the 100 ohm resistor to go across here. And yeah, I think that's where we'll end today's video. So to recap, we installed a new bias cap, which I will probably redo, but it is there. We took out the 3-prong or the 2-prong power cable, took out the death cap, and took out the 0.47 blue molded that was here. So the current plan is to move the death cap 0.47 to where this one was. So it'll go here where this one was, and then we will have the 0.1 and 0.47 like that here. And then we've got to figure out what the heck we're doing with the caps that go right here to replace these light blue ones. Like I said, I bought 3 of these F&Ts. I actually bought a third. I bought 2 on accident. I was so confident they would work just by judging it, eyeballing it, that I bought the third. So that sucks, but it's just not going to work. They're too big. So if you guys have any any tips or any recommendations, that's what I need. So go ahead and drop in the comments. Let me know what I should purchase, or if you think I should just get double Spragues all the way across the board and do it that way. But ideally, I'm looking for a double cap. So 2 25 microfarad caps in one. That would be my goal. So let me know what you guys think. And yeah, thanks for following along with this series. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow when all the parts come in.